The Mormons came out of Nauvoo, Illinois in 1846. They were literally forced from their homes. And on their way across to the west, the United States asked them to supply 500 of their best men, serve in a battalion to fight against in the war with Mexico. Well, 500 volunteered. They began the longest march in military history from Council Bluffs, Iowa, all the way down to San Diego, 2,000 miles on foot. There's about 100 of the Mormon battalion members, after their year's service was up, instead of returning immediately to find their families, they were asked to stay here and earn money and provisions and meet with the saints in the valley of the Great Salt Lake in the summer of 1848. So the winter of 47 and 48, there was about 105 Mormons working for Captain Sutter. Along with several others that were in the state, there was 242 who had come around the Horn on the ship Brooklyn, and a couple of other families, the Rhodes family and the Ide family. And they were here when the gold was discovered in January of 48. The Mormons mined a lot of gold, but they were also true to their leaders, and when he said to meet him in the Salt Lake Valley in 48, they packed up, they purchased this cannon from Captain Sutter in 1848 and took it with them, possibly right through this valley, but out past where Sly Park is, Mormon Immigrant Trail, and then on over the Carson Pass. All right, company, prepare to load by detail.
Okay, that's okay.
Worm the bore.
Okay, there we go.
That's it.
Live fire.
Right hand. Right hand, turn upside down. Jerry.
Wet sponge.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. Good. That's it.
Drain the gun. Dry sponge. Good.
That's it.
Charge forward. Load the charge.
That's it.
Set. Ram the charge.
That's it.
Pick in prime. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this gun is hot. Please cup your hands, cover your ears. If you put your fingers in your ears, it actually makes the pressure more. So just cup your hands. You want to divert the sound around. Clear on the range. 1, 2, 3, fire in the hole! Hurrah for California!
You're going to stay here overnight? Yes, there's tents.
We're the first New York. We were sent around the Horn in 1847 to bring American enterprise and authority to the area. You know, there was nothing here. We had just taken California from Mexico in the War of 1846-48, right? And President Polk asked the governor of New York to send a unit around to start taking charge here, and we did. We got here in 1847, and the gold rush hadn't even started.
Right.
That was something that developed just within that year, 48.
Well, did you get in on the gold, or?
We kind of stumbled on it because we were stationed in Sonoma and Monterey and down in the Los Angeles area and all along the coast. Someone came to our camp in
largest nugget
Monterey.
ever found was found by a man out of this unit, 135 pounds. Sergeant Carson tripped over his drunk.
I wouldn't like to have that.
Are you familiar with? There's a town down the road called Carson Hills on 49, and it's
Yeah.
named after Sergeant Carson. The Carson line.
He claimed it, obviously.
You got
Died
a
in
lot of
53.
names in San Francisco that are named after us. Stevenson Street down there by the
Yeah.
ballpark
yeah,
is
yeah.
is our
He knows.
is our colonel.
Folsom was our quartermaster. Sidecar gate is obstructed.
so that you could build something like the mill. So what I've done is put us, well, with a lot of helpers, actually more helpers than lately, put in a series of relief cuts, and then I'll come along with an axe, and I like the little guy because he's easy. Step back just a little bit, yeah. And I'll come along like this and trim it off down to where the cut is. You can see we put a pencil line where we were supposed to go down to. So we only cut to that part. So then when we pop these guys out, it makes it pretty flat. And then I'll use I'll do this side, roll it over, do it 3 more times. I'll get a timber that looks like that back here. And then you'll see that'll look a lot like the timbers that were used to build the mill. We figure 2 guys who knew what they were doing probably do this log in about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Really?
All 4 sides.
Not.
And probably really nice and smooth too.
Yeah. I think some of your helpers are overzealous here.
Yeah, I have exceptional helpers and helpers.
Hi, I'm James Marshall. Back in January of 1848, I'm not quite sure what the date was. It was either the 18th or 19th. Now, there's a lot of people around here who say that it was the 24th of January that I found that gold. But I think it was the 18th or 19th. Anyway, that morning I was down in the tail race, kind of checking it out. My workman hadn't got to work yet, and of course, we were trying to dig that tail race deeper because the sawmill wasn't working right. And I was standing down there in about 3 inches of water, and I noticed something shiny in the water at my feet. Now, I reached down and I picked that little piece of metal up. I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I put it on a rock, and I grabbed another rock, and I started smashing it. You know, I've got a 5th grade education, and my favorite subjects were astronomy and geology. I figure gold found in nature is going to be really, really soft and malleable. So smashing it between those 2 rocks proved to me that it was gold. I was pretty excited because when I looked down at my feet, I realized there were all of these golden particles all around my feet. I took my hat off and I caved the top of it in, and I started picking up these pieces and putting them in my hat. Tell you what, in a half hour's time, I had picked up about $15 worth of gold. Yeah, 3/4 of an ounce. I was real excited. Then the workmen got there, the Mormon boys. They'd finished their breakfast. I went over to that fella Brown, and I says, by God, boys, I believe I found me a gold mine. He looked at that gold and said, I think not. They didn't believe me. So we started testing that gold. And one of the boys took an anvil and a hammer, and he put a piece of gold on it, and he started tapping it with that hammer, and it just kept getting wider and bigger and thinner and thinner. Gold's the most malleable metal there is. One of the boys had a gold coin left over from his service with the Mormon Battalion. Those boys marched all the way from Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, all the way to San Diego, 2,000 miles. They got paid off down there in gold and silver coin. So we compared that gold coin to this gold. Gold's real heavy. One of the boys took some flakes and he put it on a shovel. And he stuck that shovel into a fire we had burning there. The fire was manzanita wood. You know wood, that manzanita wood burns real hot. We figured if it was lead or something like that, it would have melted. It didn't. Now Jenny came by, Jenny Wimmer, the camp cook. You know, Jenny was the only person here who had ever seen native gold. She was raised in Georgia, and there was a minor gold rush to Georgia in 1829. And Jenny had panned for gold as a girl. She said, I got a test for gold. Now that was Jenny's laundry day. And she had a can of lye. She mixed lye and water together and she put some gold flakes in it. She said, we're going to come back here in a while. We'll let it just sit for a while and see what happens. She said, if we come back and that metal has turned green, it's not gold, it's copper. When we came back, it was shiny. And Jenny said it was gold. So then, I told the boys, well, we need to get back to work. Yeah, this gold's exciting, but we got a sawmill to finish. You can look for gold on your own time. And by the way, this is my gold mine. Anything you find, I get 25% of. And they agreed to that. So we went back to work on the sawmill, but a couple of days later, I took a bunch of gold down to Sutter's Fort and showed him, my partner. There we did a specific gravity test on the gold. We had to prove that this was truly gold. Now, here's the way that test works. Sutter went around the fort and he gathered up silver coins from people. And he put those silver coins, about $3.50 worth, on one side of a scale. I put gold dust on the other side until the scale was even. We took that off the scale. We put a couple of water glasses on the scale. We filled the glasses all the way to the top with water. Now the way this all works is this. Specific gravity is about weight and volume. And the weight and volume is based on the weight and volume of water. So let's take an ice cube here. Let's take a cubic inch of water, an ice cube. It's got a specific gravity of 1. We know, because we had an encyclopedia, that silver has a specific gravity of 10.5. In other words, a cubic inch of silver, same volume as the water, is going to weigh 10.5 times what that water weighs. And a cubic inch of gold is going to weigh 19.4 times what that water weighs. So we go from the silver, which is our known, to the unknown, the gold. So when we put that gold and silver in those glasses and filled them to the top, and we released the scale, the side with the gold went down and the side with the silver went up. And this is why. This is an ounce of gold, this is an ounce of silver. Look at the difference in the size. Obviously, the glass with the gold had a lot more water in it than the glass with the silver. And because of that, we knew that it had to be gold. So what are we going to do? Sutter says, let's keep this a secret. Now, I can understand why. He's got an agricultural empire down there. It's based on labor. What if all of his laborers left? Well, he wouldn't have much, would he? So I said, okay, I'll agree to that. I'll keep it a secret. But 12 people knew the secret. Can that many people keep a secret? Of course not. The word got out, and the world rushed in.
Yeah.